to Tired Reviews the Right Way. Man, is it just me, or is it been really exhausting lately? I don't know why. It's not like I'm not getting as much sleep as I normally do. Basically, you know, my normal 6 to 8 hours a night, you know, kind of depending on what time I go to bed. I typically get up around 6:30. I like to start my morning off early, get shit done, sit and listen to music, read the news, that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of times I work at 9 o'clock in the morning, so it gives me plenty of time to, you know, get my breakfast, get my shower, and just kind of get ready to start my day. And so, yeah, I don't know, I'm just super tired today. Played a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima this morning, and I'm really enjoying that game. So now I just decided I should probably do a video. It's been about a week, and I wanted to do something I kind of mentioned in my last video, where I might start doing additions to my collection. So this will be my first. So I'm gonna do a little vinyl update. And these are some new pickups that I've recently acquired. We've got Cult of Luna and Julie Christmas with Mariner Live. Mariner was an album that came out, I believe it was like 2015. I'd have to double check now. I should have looked, of course, before I started the video, but here I am in front of the camera. But anyways, live record they put out for that album. And honestly, I think the live recordings are just as amazing as the studio recordings. Normally I'm not super into live material. I really appreciate everything that goes into making a song become the complete version, basically. And I feel like they lose a lot of the heart that the studio recordings get when they try to then do them live. Now obviously I love to go to live concerts, but part of that experience is obviously being there. It doesn't necessarily translate as well to audio. Unless it's somebody you've maybe seen before, then you can kind of, you know, use your imagination to transport you back to that time where you were at that show and kind of then get into it a little bit more. But unfortunately, there's so many bands that put out live albums that I've never seen live, so I can't transport myself in my head to that time period. So like I said, it kind of loses its luster, you know, and if you're a fan of how it sounds in the studio, it doesn't always come out the same way in the live recordings. And so I have a love-hate thing for them. Sometimes I think they can be really good, and then sometimes, like I said, I just think that they don't immerse you into that full experience that the studio album brings. However, this is one that I think kind of falls outside of that norm, and I really enjoy it. I think it translates really well to record. It sounds very close to these studio recordings. Those shows are a little bit more intimate, even though they are heavy, so you don't have a lot of like audience screaming and stuff like that. They're not like out there thrashing and headbanging. I mean, post-metal is usually a little bit more to be enjoyed and kind of appreciated and watched, because they are doing so much. You know, they're layering everything that they're playing. There's a lot of reverb, and it just hits you like a wall of noise. And so there's just, you know, obviously you're not sitting there just thrashing around in a mosh pit. Next is another one I picked up pretty recently. The last Wu-Tang album, well, not the last one, but yeah, Better Tomorrow. I've not listened to the last one, which I think is The Saga Continues, but this was kind of their one after 8 Diagrams, like 7 years later. But pretty good album. I don't love this record, but got the opportunity to get the vinyl for it. And I enjoyed enough to have it in my collection and listen to whenever I feel like it. Just on standard black vinyl, so nothing too interesting. I didn't show you the Julie Christmas, but I believe it is on, I know, it's also boring black vinyl. So, well, not boring. I actually prefer black vinyl. I've never really sat and listened to compare and contrast, obviously, with certain things, because, you know, I might have a colored pressing of a certain artist and then not the just standard black wax pressing for that same album. So I've never been able to compare, but I've always heard that there's stuff in the dyes that, you know, obviously dampens the sound that you would get out of the vinyl. So I tend to go more for the standard black pressings a lot of times anyways, plus they're a little bit cheaper, and you know, I like the vinyl experience, I like the vinyl sound, so I'm going for that anyways. However, if I find a colored pressing, obviously for a fairly decent price, or if maybe that's the only way they've ever released it, I'm not going to shy away from a colored pressing on vinyl. I have plenty. And again, I don't know if they really dampen the sound all that much. I've never been able to compare and contrast, so if anybody's watching the video and can confirm, based on, you know, you have a Between the Buried Me black press and a colored press, and the black pressing sounds better, or whatever it may be, you can always hit me up in the comments and we can chit chat about that, just because I'd be curious to see what other people's thoughts are. Next up, Hiatus Kaiyote. This is their first record, Tawk, Tomahawk. Just recently picked this up. Actually, the store I work at does special orders through a distribution company, and I had looked up online based on the barcode that was provided in our database, and it was supposed to be the gold pressing, which is now out of print and goes for a bunch of money on Discogs. And then it ended up just being the black press. But we had two listings for it. We had one for $22 and one for $30, so I figured the $30 one should be the nice special edition gold press. According to the barcode, it is, and I get it, and it's just your standard black one. However, this album's incredible. They did put out an album right afterwards that I argue is even better, but they're an Australian group that kind of mixes rock, R&B, jazz, to kind of give you this. I mean, it's definitely more on the R&B and more on the jazz side, but great band. Highly recommend checking this album out. And their second one, Choose Your Weapon, also fantastic record. Porter Ray with Watercolor. This is his first album on Sub Pop. He's a rapper that was basically just young guy doing his own thing, and some of the executives of Sub Pop kind of stumbled upon his music. Really great MC. You know, very thought-provoking lyrics for as young as he is. He's got a lot of problems with, you know, mental illness and depression, and he really brings that out in a lot of his music, and also talks about a lot of other social problems. It's really great stuff, though. Highly recommend him. And also picked up some Lizzo, Because I Love You. I think this album's incredible. I think she, as much as I love Billie Eilish, and I think Billie Eilish deserves all the credit she got in last year's Grammys, I really think that it's kind of tough. You know, Lizzo should have honestly won just as much. Obviously, Billie Eilish is a lot younger, and you don't necessarily see that kind of musical focus from somebody so young. But I think Lizzo was kind of robbed, though, too. Like I said, it's a catch-22. I really like both artists. I think Billie Eilish did put out one of the best pop albums of the year last year. But Lizzo's, man, is just as strong. I mean, obviously it's an R&B album, Billie Eilish is a pop album, but man, they are neck and neck in terms of, you know, how good they are. Another one from last year that I'm just now getting around to picking up, but I picked it up on CD. Record was just one of those things. It was kind of expensive, and it wasn't until recently that I ultimately decided to just go more vinyl. Like I said, I like vinyl a lot more. I appreciate the sound that comes out of it. I do understand that you probably do get more digital recordings on newer music and pressed on analog, so you can argue it's really not much different than a CD. And yeah, and even on my stereo, it's probably not much different than a CD. But I do feel like you get warmer sounds out of the vinyl. So I still argue that it's different enough. There's enough to appreciate about it in terms of fidelity, and so I like vinyl more, so I'm just now getting around to buying this. However, this was another one from last year that was a fantastic record. I think they've just continued to just get better with age. This one being my favorite out of the bunch, between their self-titled Cleopatra and this. I think this record is just incredible. Getting to some stuff from this year, I did review this album earlier in the year. This is the new Black Dahlia Murder with Verminous. This is on like a moon glow record is what they call it. So it's almost like a moss green see-through. And this thing has been so static. I can't get it in and out of the sleeve. There we go. Anyways, I really enjoyed this record. As I said in the video for the review, definitely my least favorite Black Dahlia Murder. However, I really like what they're trying to do on this album. I think overall it's very successful. I really like Arsis anyways, so I'm eager to see what the guitar player from Arsis brings to Black Dahlia further on down the road. And I think this is kind of like a new milestone for them, so I'm eager to see what they put out with next. Converge, You Fail Me, classic. Just on red vinyl. Again, another one I just never picked up when I first picked it up on CD. I have a bunch of other Converge on vinyl. This was one I just, for some reason, never got around to grabbing, and so found a used copy at one of our stores for 25 bucks. So I had to grab that. Great, solid album. Converge, another oldie but goodie. Been out for, I think this was 2013. Yeah, it says 2014 on the vinyl, but I'm pretty sure it came out 2013. Danny Brown's Old. Fantastic record. Just on black vinyl, so I'm not going to show that off. But another one that just decided to go ahead and pick up the vinyl now that I've seen a used copy. I've been recently getting rid of a lot of my CDs, stuff that I own on vinyl and CD. Figure at this point I don't get to sit and listen to music at home a ton, and when I do, I typically would rather sit and listen to vinyl. So, and a lot of artists are starting to push their stuff for vinyl more. You are still seeing a lot of CDs, but in certain, you know, lower, less mainstream artists, you are not seeing as many CD sales or even being produced. So you're seeing a lot more vinyl, cassette, digital only, yada yada yada. So that's why I'm kind of thinking for the most part I'm gonna try to do vinyl more often than not, unless it's not available on vinyl, and then I'll just go with the CD, or if it's not available physical at all, then obviously I'll just be listening to it on Spotify, or download digitally through Bandcamp so I can try to support the artist. You know, there's various forms of me being able to get the music out there, so it would just depend on how it's pressed and the availability and price, because also there are newer artists that are putting stuff out, but it's so small run. Like, I really want that new Rina Sawayama, but it's like a $75 record. It was only available on Rough Trade UK, I'm pretty sure, and 500 copies, it's gone. It's a ton of money, so I'll probably end up getting a CD for that eventually, because I can find that for around 15-20 bucks. So yeah, obviously it's going to depend on rarity as well. Another oldie but goodie. I've been kind of in a country mood lately, since I've been watching a little bit more of Mike Seatown's videos and his reviews, just kind of watching the things he talks about and the things he's into. You know, I share a lot of interest with a lot of the guys that I do watch, and that's why I choose to watch them. He's very entertaining. I like his reviews, so, you know, he was talking about some Merle Haggard, and it got me thinking about Jason Isbell, so had to pick this up because it's a record I've always really enjoyed. So now I'm happy to have it in the collection, but it is the first Jason Isbell, Sirens of the Ditch. But yeah, great album. I've always really liked his stuff with Drive-By Truckers as well, so happy to have some solo on vinyl. From Carolina Chocolate Drops, the Genuine Negro Jig. These guys are some bluegrass. Rhiannon Giddens is from this band. She has now gone out to do her own solo career. Mildly successful solo career. Unfortunately, they never really even blew up all that much either. However, I think they're super awesome. If you like your bluegrass, very stripped down, folk, banjo, acoustic, it's awesome. Highly recommend this album. And funny story, this was actually my album that I was, you know, about a couple years ago, I had decided to get rid of more of my vinyl, stuff that I had on CD. And basically I always go back and forth on this kind of stuff. I collect a lot of things, so I constantly am sitting there, oh, what do I want to do with this? It's been sitting for so long, you know, maybe I should get rid of it and buy something I want, or yada yada yada. And so now on this newest expedition, I've literally purged every CD I have for something I have on vinyl, or if it's something I have on vinyl too, because there's no point in having both formats. I rip the CD to my computer, have it digitally, I can put it on my phone, and so this was one of the things I was just like, well, I want this back, so I traded in my CD and bought back my record. For the last couple, we're going back to this year. We got the new JPEGMAFIA, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. Picked this up just a couple weeks ago too. It came out digitally about a month ago, and I was at my local record store, not the place I work, but supporting another guy who I really like talking to. He's a great guy, so I like to go to his shop anyways. That's Square Records. And so was there picking up the Black Dahlia Murder actually because I knew he had it, and stumbled upon this and was like, yep, I need to have this album as well. I've listened to it quite a bit on Spotify, so it was time to spin it on vinyl. Just black wax as well on here, so nothing super interesting, but great hip-hop album from this year. Highly recommend if you like JPEGMAFIA. It's definitely not as weird as Veteran. I feel like this is a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? I guess cohesive and straightforward. It doesn't seem like it's as chaotic and noisy and all over the place. Obviously, it still has its very weird production on it. He does a lot of weird vocal stuff. He sings. He mutates his voice with digital effects, but it's definitely a little bit more tame than previous releases. But great record, highly recommend it. We got Quelle Chris with Innocent Country Part 1. Mellow Music just recently put this out, along with his newest one, Innocent Country Part 2, which Mellow Music was out of. I ordered it on Amazon, and I would be reviewing that one with this, or not reviewing, but obviously pointing it out with this one. But Amazon has screwed up my order twice now. The first time I received, I think it was like the Traveling Troubadours or something like that. Totally wrong record. The LP box that it came with had the barcode sticker on it with the title. It was the same thing that was in the box, not what I ordered. Second time then, because I put in for a replacement order, sent back the Traveling Troubadours with the UPS code that they gave me, and a few days later I'd received the LP again. This time the LP box was labeled Quelle Chris and Chris Keys Innocent Country Part 2, had the barcode on it. However, I opened up the box and there was a Power Trip Nightmare Logic record in there, which I don't have and I would love to keep, but the Quelle Chris is like 28 bucks. It's not available on Mellow Music's website anymore. Discogs is already selling it for like 50 to 75 bucks. And I love that record so far. That's probably one of my favorite hip-hop albums of the year. So I really wanted to have it on vinyl. Amazon's shown it in stock, and now twice they have given me the wrong record. So for the third time now, I have put in, well, second time I've put in a, return request. It will be the third attempt at getting me the correct vinyl, so hopefully third time's a charm. Hopefully I'll be able to tell you next video that I was able to get that Quelle Chris. If not, I guess I'll probably be holding off for now because I'm not going to spend 70 bucks on a record. It's hard for me to, warrant spending that kind of money on something like that because there's always other things that I want. I could put that $70 towards the Nosferatu figure that I just pre-ordered on Mezco. I could buy Marvel Legends. There's other vinyl I could buy. So it's like I can't really dedicate 70 bucks to any one particular piece at the moment, when I could just, it makes more sense to put money into other things that I would like to have just as much as that Quelle Chris. So, but anyways, the first one's great. It is on a clear, blood-spattered vinyl, so pretty cool. But definitely don't like this one as much as the new one. The new one has a lot more jazzy kind of piano to it. Chris Keys is classically trained. He does a lot of awesome production. This one's still a great record. Highly recommend it. But like I said, I just don't like it as much as Innocent Country Part 2. I think the rapping is a little bit more mature on that one. I like how he's a little bit more monotone on it, a little bit more laid back, almost kind of like these hushed kind of delivered vocals. This one he definitely has more of a lyrical flow, well not lyrical flow, but more of a flow to the way he raps, and this one is just more of like a hushed kind of poetic spoken word almost type of thing. So this being more of the more normal style of rap. But even the production I just don't think is as interesting as Innocent Country Part 2. But either way, I'm still super stoked to have this on vinyl. I really enjoy it, so now I get to spin it whenever I want to. And last, this just finally came out yesterday. I'm going to have to order Tidal and When the Pawn on vinyl because those are both out. I think there's a repress then of Tidal because that's been long out of print through Vinyl Me Please, but they just, I think, reissued it. And they're also reissuing for the first time When the Pawn, so really want to pick those up. But this just came out Friday on vinyl, and so now I can spin this. I think this is also a great record. I have not done a review on it. I probably won't at this point because it's been out for a little while. Just know that I highly enjoy it. if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably say it's worth an 8. I don't like it as much as When the Idler Wheel, yada yada yada. I think that is her strongest album to date. However, this is definitely a close second, followed then, you know, by the rest of them. Not that I don't think her earlier material is still good. I think Extraordinary Machine is really where she really started to find herself. From that album on, I really enjoy more so than Tidal and When the Pawn. However, I don't discredit those albums at all. I think they're really great albums. Obviously, she was very much finding her voice and who she was in music. So there's still a lot to appreciate. Hell Shadow Boxer is a great song. There's other great songs off of When the Pawn that I can't think of any titles right now, but again, that was, you know, maybe even like Extraordinary Machine. That could be where she kind of even started to gain her footing a little bit. Obviously with The Idler Wheel, you can kind of see where she goes back to just using this super elongated title to try to hint that, you know, maybe she is kind of going back to her roots. But yeah, so anyways, this is also a great record. Highly recommend if you haven't listened to it. And so that is it with my vinyl update. Nothing else really new to report. Hope everybody's doing great. If you guys picked up anything cool lately that you want to talk about in the comments, do you like any of these records? If you do, let's talk about them in the comments, or if you're not familiar with them, check them out. Tell me what you think. If you like this video, click subscribe, click the little link. Not the link, the bell. It will notify you every time I put up something new. And it's been great talking to you guys. This has been Review the Right Thing. Stay safe. If you want to check out some stuff on Instagram, follow me at Review the Right Thing. You can also see more uploads of my new purchases there. And have a great one, guys. Love y'all. Goodbye.